what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kicks and Shit Show. It's Jarod and Gabby here. Gabby,
Hi.
how's it going?
It's going. I'm going to be honest with you. It's been an interesting couple days, I think, for all of us. And I know usually we keep things kind of lighthearted, but I've got a lot of shellac between seasonal allergies and just a lot of emotional feelings with the current situation. So, how about you?
It's same, right? It's been a tough last week, last few days. As you said, we do keep things fun on the Kicks and Shit Show, and we will continue to do that. And thank you guys so much for supporting us and all the feedback. We love it. We're going to continue to keep it fresh. But one of the things that has been resonating with you all and what we want to keep going is our authenticity and realness. And that's what's so great about this show. Yes, we talk about sneakers and pop culture, but we are also not unaware of what's going on around us every day. And, we're not going to dwell on it the entire show, but we'd be remiss if we did not talk about it. There are obviously protests going on all over the country amidst this coronavirus pandemic that we're also dealing with. And these protests are all related to the systemic racism that exists in America and is inherent within our policing and our governmental structures that are literally causing the state-sanctioned murder of Black citizens. And I think what you're seeing now is people have really gotten to a point where they've had enough and they're taking to the streets. I mean, here in the city, in Brooklyn, there have been protests, Midtown, in Soho, all over the place. Obviously, what's going on in Minnesota, where just the latest death happened, George Floyd killed by Minnesota police officers. In LA, it's everywhere. And, the reality of it is that people are going to respond in that manner when they feel they have not been heard. And, everybody's seen the quotes all over social media and everywhere. I mean, people love to trot out Dr. King at this time, which drives me bananas because at the time, you people weren't down with him in the beginning, right? You killed him. So it wasn't like you were on his side from the jump, but his words that he said all those years ago ring just as true now as they were then. And it is that riot is the language of the unheard, right? When I am telling you how I am feeling and what is happening to me, and you are not listening, it's been 400 years, right? We've been telling you the same story for 400 years. You're not listening.
Say, this is not a new issue. This
No.
is not a new issue, and it's gotten to the point where it is a pandemic. It's no longer people can sit back and be silent about it. So now is the time, while there's a captive audience, speak up, fight for what's right and what the way that it should be, to be honest with you. And I don't mean to sound ignorant when I say that, but I think the amount of injustice that has been happening, not just during this specific situation, but in our country for hundreds of years, it's got to stop.
Yeah. I mean, August of 1619. Look it up, people. That is the date the first slave ship touched the shores of this country, right? And from that point to now, this is what has been happening. And again, we're just seeing the manifestation of people's cries not being heard. And, to bring it to how it relates to what we talk about and the world that we're in terms of sneaker and sport and pop culture, the sneaker, so much of it is tied to sport and the NBA, right? Because that's so much of like the sneaker culture, for lack of a better term. And, the NBA is dominated by Black men, right? And you see a lot of them on social media talking about what's going on and like just really throwing their hands up. Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics has been front and center with all of this, just talking and rallying people. And the reality of it is, folks, is that these basketball players you love watching and you love their kicks and all this stuff, these are real issues to them. If not for basketball, right? Or if not for the grace of God, this could be them, right? This could be me. These are how these things happen. It's mind-boggling that there are people out there who don't see that. And I know, Gabby, we were on social media looking at it, and I know a lot of the different news outlets, Complex, etc., have been posting stories and pictures of the looting going on and the various, sneaker stores, like the Adidas store right here in Manhattan in Soho was looted and vandalized. A couple of the Supreme stores out in LA, like all of these sneaker shops, and the Nike store in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. I want to be clear about something. Again, rioting is the language of the unheard. What I want to be clear about, though, is that the people who are using this to capitalize and get free merch, essentially, that ain't what this is about, okay? It isn't about that.
Yeah, agreed.
The people who are doing this because you're not hearing me, right? Think about how bad a situation has to be that your next reaction is, okay, you're not listening? I'm going to start throwing bricks through this store window and tearing things apart. What that is a cry for attention and listen to me when I'm talking, and you're not hearing. So now I'm going to do these things to make it aware and abundantly clear that we are tired of having the boots of the state on our neck, literally choking the life out of us. And that's what we're seeing right now. And, it's a lot, man. It really is. And as a society and as a people, we have all got to recognize that we're in this together. And the only way this changes is that people start seeing the humanity in everyone else and changing things for the better. That's how this works.
Yep. And I mean, I think you make a lot of good points, and it's really sad to see people that are using this crazy time and situation for self-serving purposes, like stealing from Kith and breaking down windows so that they can resell sneakers. It's actually disgusting. And I think the media, the way that they can have controlled the narrative for so long, it's never really painted the full picture. And I think the reason that you're hearing about this more than ever, even though this has been an issue for so many hundreds of years, is because of social media. It's because of the people that are having a platform to speak up. And enough of it turns into a movement that those people are finally getting heard, which to me is something that's exciting to see. I mean, it's also interesting to see who is not speaking up. To me, the silence is deafening. And just talking about it, sure. I mean, it's great that we're bringing light to a cause that's needed to have light for a very long time. But don't just talk about it. Be about it. Make a change. Exactly.
100%,
and
Gabby.
It's great seeing brands that are standing up and taking action, not just posting on social media about it. We've been sharing a ton of what brands have been doing, but I know, Jarod, you were talking to someone from Nike, and they've got a really cool initiative to kind of help fight back against some of this.
100%. And we'll get to that in 1 second. I just want to follow up on what you said about the brands. Look, yeah, a lot of them, and for those of you who are cynical out there, and look, and I can be as big a cynic as anyone sometimes, right? These brands are putting out these commercials, enough is enough, yada, yada. It's just words. But look, I think the speed at which a company like Nike put out their commercial and on social, Adidas retweeting it and saying, together is how we get this done. Yes, I know for a lot of you are like, that's just marketing, whatever. And that could very well be their main motivation. But if someone out there sees Adidas and Nike getting together and somehow in their mind, that makes them think, wait a minute, if these two sneaker companies are willing to be like, whatever, it's not about who sells more shoes right now, it's about us working together, maybe they have a point. There's a reason why we
100%
not
agree.
look to, but why when something happens to either a famous person or athletes or someone in the public figure or a big brand does something, it catches people's attention. Should it be regular people? Yes, 100%. But sometimes the people with the biggest platforms and the brands of the biggest platforms get the kind of response that we need. So if that Adidas retweet of the Nike ad and say we're working together on this is going to work, by all means, I'm 100% for it. And
yep,
you mentioned,
I feel the same way.
Yeah, and so Adidas, they're in support. Nike put out an ad, and I know New Balance put out a statement, I think, recently, either in the last couple of days.
Yep, and Reebok and Puma have also done statements. I mean, like I said, we're going to keep sharing this kind of stuff for you because we think it's important to keep passing forward that message because that's how it gets heard. But I agree with you. I think the Nike and Adidas, it's a microcosm for the way things should be. Let's put everything else aside and join together because it's a humanity issue. You know what I'm saying? It's like
100%.
At the end of the day, everyone deserves the same rights. And
100%.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And so you'd mentioned that I was talking to Nike, a Jordan brand, recently. And, of course, the big thing is we're always trying to find glimmers of hope or something in these situations to just, for lack of a better term, make us feel better, right? And look, and sometimes it's not about feeling better. We have to feel the pain and the suffering because that's how we get through. Pain and suffering is part of growth, right? But I was talking to Nike Jordan brand president Craig Williams the other day, and shout out to Nike and Jordan brand Craig Williams. Adam Beard over there, and Greta,
Yeah.
who does their PR. They have a program called the Jordan Wing Scholars Program, and they just recently announced this current class, the class of 2024. It's when they'll be graduating college. There are 32 scholars. 99% of them are people of color, are children of color, who got full ride scholarships to the college of their choice. And again, you're all like, 32, what's that? First of all, they've funded over 1,800 students since in the duration of this program. And yeah, it's only 32. I'd like it to be more. They'd like it to be more. But here's the reality. Of those 32, coming out of college with no debt is such a huge leg up in this world. And guys, if you don't understand the economic connection to what is going on in the world, read some books, okay? Because the connection is so evident out there. If you can get out of college with a degree and have no debt around your neck, it frees you up to pursue the passions you want to pursue and not worry about how am I getting these loans paid off. And maybe someone in this class might be that person that has that idea that sparks that revolution that changes things. Yes, it's idealistic, sure, all of that. But again, it's programs like this that we support and that we have to champion and applaud, because it's things like this that can promote the next great thing. And so kudos again to Jordan Brand, President Craig Williams, the whole team over there, and what they're doing is fantastic. And we salute them. And Gabby, I think that's a perfect way. I don't know what your thoughts you have to wrap this first segment.
Yeah, I mean, I know you say that's an idealistic way to think, but I think sometimes we have to be like that, because if we don't think of an ideal, then we don't take steps to make it change. Because if we think in that realistic mentality, like maybe one of the 32 isn't going to be the next big thing, then nothing ever happens and nothing ever gets done. And what if one of them does? What if more than one of them does? The fact that Nike and Jordan Brand is able to provide that opportunity for 32, to me, it's better than one. It's better than 31. I think it's all steps in the right direction to changing the conversation and changing the society. I mean, to have no debt leaving college is a luxury that most Americans do not get to have. So if we can set up people that wouldn't get that opportunity otherwise, to me, it's a no-brainer why we're not doing it. And props and kudos to Nike and Jordan Brand for that.
Well said. And guys, thank you so much. We'll be back.